next area of questions is going to be involving executive action. Now, we're going to have a question later on immigration, so this is about immigration, but I'm going to give you some examples. Y'all all recall that South Carolina joined Texas, Governor Abbott in Texas. Last November, we joined him in his fight against the president's overreach on his immigration decision to basically legalize 5 million legal immigrants. We thought that was a violation of the Take Care Clause of the Constitution, as well as several other provisions of the U.S. Constitution. The President said that last November, I just took action to change the law. A phrase that the White House later clarified as being colloquial in nature. That's a really powerful statement to me. Another area that we want to talk about, this is important to South Carolina, is that over 30 years, multiple Congresses in a bipartisan fashion spent billions of dollars on Yucca Mountain to be the nuclear repository for all the nuclear waste in the country. And several years ago, in the first term of President Obama, he unilaterally, through the Department of Energy fiat, overturned 30 years of funding, 30 years of bipartisan agreements and resolutions to make Yucca Mountain the nuclear repository. Whether that was a good idea or bad idea is irrelevant. The fact is, he unilaterally did it. My question is this: do you believe federal administrative agencies are required to operate based on congressional or executive action when the two are in conflict?
So one of the things that I will be very candid in saying, I've been disappointed in is the majority, the Republican majority in the House and the Republican majority in the Senate. And I say that in direct response to this question because, you know, a lot of us worked hard. I'm sure you did. I did. A lot of us worked hard to return historic majorities to the House and to elect a majority in the Senate. Not a lot has changed. It's one of the reasons why 82% of the American people think we have a professional political class of both parties who are more concerned with protection of their power, privilege, and position than of getting the work done. That too is why I'm running for president. I think it's time to go back to a citizen government. But why do I bring this up in the context of this specific question? Because one of the things this Congress could do is pass something called the REINS Act, R-E-I-N-S. And what the REINS Act would do is solve a lot of these conflicts. It is fair to say that not only has this president acted with executive orders in an incredibly lawless and unconstitutional way, but the regulatory authority of this administration has become the governing authority. So whether it's the EPA or the creation of, the EPA is basically destroying the coal industry. They now control about 99% of the groundwater in this nation. I spent 12 years in California. I can tell you what happens when the EPA controls your water. Devastation of agriculture and other industries. So the EPA is rolling out regulation after regulation. This administration has created this thing called the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This is one of the largest bureaucracies in Washington. By statute, it has no oversight from Congress. Imagine that. And these are a bunch of nameless, faceless bureaucrats elected by no one, accountable to no one, and they are siphoning up 700 million records, credit records, mortgage applications, all this personal information, no oversight at all. So what the REINS Act would do is say, you know what? Every regulation that's promulgated by the executive branch must be examined, looked at, approved, if it has an impact over a certain amount of money, which is fairly low, by the congressional branch. Boy, wouldn't that be great? So in other words, leadership, pass the REINS Act. If President Obama wants to veto it, so be it. But let's at least have the fight. So the president has to explain to me